Keith Andrew, and this is episode 379. I'm here with Kaye Laine. I just want to say thank you for being a guest on my talk show.
You're welcome.
Now, for people who want to know what the whole point of my talk show, the whole point of my show is to show people that even with having a learning disability, I can still amount to something. And at the same time, I'm still able to turn myself into an example for people out there dealing with any types of learning disabilities and disabilities. To never give up and to prove to people you can still amount to something. Now we're doing a special short interview. It's just a half hour of your time. Now with that being said, you can say anything you want, talk about anything you want, and starting off, what can you tell us about yourself?
Well, I'm a mom of 3 children, and I'm 40 years old, but I did go to college, and I really battled through school. I barely ever graduated high school as it was because I have a learning disability. It's called Irlen syndrome. I didn't find out until I went to college, but once I got there, I had to read everything out loud, following it with my finger, and I read every single textbook out loud. And I found out in my senior year of college that I have a condition called Irlen syndrome. And it's a visual problem that you have a hard time seeing and reading things with fluorescent and sunlight. And people think that they have dyslexia, and it's not dyslexia that I have. I have a condition called Irlen syndrome. It's named after Dr. Irlen, and they started figuring things out in the 80s, what was going on with this, and she was doing a lot of research. But I tell you, I had the hardest time. I took some of my math classes 3 times because the math numbers would get all mixed up. And all my reading, I have a condition within Irlen syndrome that's called rivers. I see all my words in rivers and streams. Everything, it's all broken up. And every time I read, the words are all mixed up and different words pop out. And it's very similar to dyslexia, but a lot of people that have, they're either right brain or left brain. I mean, sometimes when you have a learning disability, it pushes you more into a more creative side. I have a degree in art, and I think I drew a lot to ignore my homework in high school. But what's to say, I've had a few gallery shows before I ever went to college, so because I love drawing and stuff like that. But I battled through, and I have a degree in psychology and a degree in studio art from Cal State. But I worked really hard for it, really, really hard. I studied 3 times harder than the average person because I read everything out loud. I wrote everything down over and over and over again, and not knowing that I had this problem. And when I went into a psychiatrist on one of the campuses that I was on, they tested me. And sometimes we adapt naturally to something when we don't know something is a disability in our own body. And I didn't realize it. And they did a test on me that they would be turning down the lights, and there wouldn't be any fluorescent lighting on, and I didn't even notice that. They said, can we just turn down the lights for a little bit, and we can talk. And then later on, they said, do you notice how calm you are? Because the lights made me tense.
Right.
And I could read things better without having those lights on, because the lights created the white paper even to glow a little bit in different spots. And I was thinking that my eyes were just always tired all the time when I went to school. But it wasn't that. It was because I have Irlen syndrome, and it's a neurological thing. So one of my kids could have it, and one of my parents could have it. And a lot of people don't report it.
Well, you bring up a good point, but you said you have the disease, so it had to be passed down. So is it on your mom's side or your dad's side?
You
Or
know what?
is it in the family?
It took me a while to figure it out because people won't admit it. People don't admit that they don't like reading, or they have a hard time reading, or they're embarrassed or something like that. And it took a long time. I was trying to point it out to my dad because when I was little, I would come up to him and I say, "Dad, I don't understand this math problem." And I wasn't exactly little. I was in high school or middle school. And he would say, he would look at the piece of paper and say, "Oh, I figured it out," and hand it back. He would never say, "Oh, let's sit down and do this.
Yeah.
Let's see what the step problem is." And it took many years of me explaining it to him, but then this last year when I was talking to my dad, my dad said, "My eyes do the same thing." So it took him a while, but he admitted it.
All right. Now, my next question, I was going to ask you about the picture behind you. What can you tell us about that?
Oh, that's my roommate's picture. That's nothing. She's in the entertainment industry, and her grandmother was a performer. So.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. Now, my next question is, what made you decide to go in psychology?
It wasn't really a big decision of mine. I'm not really going to go too far into it. I was living in a farm town at the time, and the closest university it was a distance ed campus, and it was an hour and a half away from where I was living. And there was only 3 majors: business management, psychology, teaching, and those are not my areas at all. And so I just picked one, and I went with it. And it was because any of them were too difficult for me, and so I just went with it. I was in a pretty harsh marriage that the wife had to be educated.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to end it right there.
All right. Now, my next question was, were you a study nerd or party animal in college?
I was a mom in college. I went to school while I had kids. I believe when I went to school, I didn't have a second chance at anything. So you do things right the first time.
No,
So
I
you
agree with you.
make sure you pass the class the first time. You do all your extra credit in the beginning, even if you're going to get a good grade in the class, just in case one of your kids gets sick and you can't make it to class, and you have something to back you up. So I did everything that I could, because I know that I had a hard time passing classes because I did not have a good grade point average when I was in high school, because I gave up all the time. I didn't have my parents to have my back. And so when I got into college, it's like I know I'm going to have this problem with reading and everything, and so I had to read everything, fall in line. But now I have a green screen. I found out in my senior year of getting my bachelor's degree that I need a green screen, and there is therapy. I haven't got the therapy because my insurance doesn't cover it, but there's therapy for neurological eye problems. So to help you see things more straighter, they notice one of my eyes kind of sees things at a different angle as well. But
All right.
you know.
Now, my next question I was going to ask you, it's a new subject on my show. I'm going to ask you some words, and I want your honest opinion on how that dictates to your life. With everything you accomplish, are you appreciative of everything you accomplish, or do you think there's still more for you out there for you to do?
There's still more for me out there. It's a never-ending process. No matter if it's school smart or street smart or whatever it is, there's always something to learn every single day. And there's something also in me that doesn't let me stop. It always tells me that there's something else out there. Don't stop. Keep on going. Just keep on going. So that's just how I am.
Hey, what about when you started your acting career? Were you always jealous of other people, or do you think that was just motivation of surpassing them and being a better person?
I'm not the type of person that gets jealous of other people. I just feel that everybody has their niche, in their own time, and whenever things happen, it's the right time for them. And I have people that I do look up to in the industry, and I do have a couple things coming up, and I'm not really going to say much about them, but it's a learning process every day. I'm not one to try to ride someone else's tail or to get jealous of other people and their success. Because, when you go to those auditions, this is how I look at it. If I don't get that part when I show up, it might be some little quirk about me that you don't like, or it might be that I might not look like that person that auditioned for the father and the son, that it doesn't look like it can click completely, or I just might not tie into what they exactly have for an ideal for this person for a commercial or this film or this TV show. So I don't look at it. I let it go in one ear and out the other, and because that's what you have to do in this industry. You don't get butthurt over stuff like that, and what you have to do is just surround yourself with the people that have the same goals, same inspirations, because in this industry it's hard, and if you don't, people will tell you that you shouldn't be going there, get a real job. And I'm like, but this is where my heart is. So you just don't give it up. You just keep on going and you keep on going. Even if you're going to be poor the rest of your life until you find your niche, you're going to keep on going and you're going to keep on going.
No, I agree with you. Doing the talk show, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. And I've been doing this for the past 4 years, so a lot of people say it was just a hobby. I'm trying to show them it can be more than just a hobby. And this is my outlet. Socializing helps me with my social anxiety, because I had to suffer from panic attacks. Mm-hmm. I have poor people skills. So this really helps me become a better person. So it's just more practice for myself.
Yeah, I didn't have problems with people skills when I was growing up. All through elementary school to high school, I was strong points was theater and art, but I think because I had poor reading skills and stuff like that those were my strengths, that I could just fake it till I made it in like the theater, and I would put on a show and all that kind of stuff. I would get people's, like the class clown kind of thing. But also I love drawing. But as I get older, and I had some things happen in my life because I do have GAD, generalized anxiety disorder, that I do get those panic attacks now, and I'm trying to do things just to get myself out of the box and to help socialize better.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, my last question I was going to ask you about one of the words, and we're going to take the break, is I'm going to ask you 2 words in one. What is your greatest aspect of life? What is there that you have... So let me rephrase that. What is the greatest expectation of your life that you're happy you accomplished, but at the same time you're still reaching for? And everything that you have accomplished, were you always aware of the situation, because you do have a disability, that things would be hard for you?
I'm trying to get the big picture here. It's hard sometimes when you have to read a script. If it's sent to me, I always make sure that it's printed off on green paper. Trying to get your question here.
Well, it's 2 questions in one, so we'll just split it up. So basically, aware of the situation that you suffer from all these disabilities, what would be your greatest expectation of your goals that you have reached, and what are you reaching for?
I don't know if I've reached my greatest yet. Because there's so many fields, I carry many hats. I used to own a clothing line. I could custom make clothes, like patterns and stuff like that, all the way to the finished product. And I used to have that when I was a swimsuit model. I was trying to build up my name, and so I could have a company, because I couldn't find any work when I was graduating college. And then my divorce hit, so my ex kind of claimed that, and I just wanted to walk away with my kids. To me, my kids are my greatest expectation in life, my everything, and they're amazing. They're not like other people's kids. I even have a son with autism, and I'll tell you that he's the most loving boy that I've ever known. I mean, I have a brother with autism too, but not as lovable as my son. And I have a sister with it as well. Out of 6 kids, I grew up in a family of 6 children. But I don't think I've reached my goals yet. I was in the movie One More Round. I played a wife of a judge. It's a Christian flick, but I have a couple other things coming up. I play extras in movies and stuff like that. But of course, I don't get credit for it. But it's fun because you get to mingle with other people that are having the same goals as you. But I just don't think I've really reached. I mean, in the art field, I have, because on my bucket list, I've had my gallery shows before I ever went to college. And that was on the bucket list, is have a gallery show, you're done. So I did that. I did other things in that field. I welded sculptures, and welding up to 500-pound sculptures. I did that in college. And to me, that's a goal too, because I battled my fear of heat. And doing that, to me, if you can just battle your fears and jump right into it and get your bucket list checked off one by one, then those are the things that you need to be proud of. I've had 3 kids. I wasn't supposed to have children, and I have 3 of them. To me, that's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. Now we're going to take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, I'm going to give the last 10 minutes over to you.
A message for yourself or as a gift for someone else. For personal connections, shoutouts, birthdays, proposals, weddings, and much more. Enter your details about yourself so the celebrity can record a personal video message especially for you, including details such as your name, age, birthday, hobbies, or whatever else you include. As soon as the video has been recorded, you'll get an email with your link so you can share it on social media or download and keep it. Celebrities record videos as and when they can, usually within 2 weeks. But if you want a video for a specific date and it does not look like it will arrive in time, you can cancel it and get an instant refund at the click of a button. There are hundreds of celebrities to choose from and many more joining every day. Search by category or genre. Buy a gift voucher, get updates and offers, and encourage your favorite celebrities to join so they can connect with fans in a fun and unique way. Raise money for their charities and much more. So order your video now for yourself or for someone else.
In 79, I'm here with Ms. I'm also calling you Ms. Wells Lane, but I'm here with Ms. Lane, and I just want to say thank you for joining us for episode 379. With the last 10 minutes left of the show, I'm going to ask you about your acting career, and then we're going to pass it over to you. So the first question I was going to ask you is, who influenced you to start your acting career, and how many years have you been acting?
Well, I don't know if anybody influenced me in the very beginning. I was always the lead role in kindergarten all the way through high school. So my mom would sit there and drill my lines into me. It'd go over and over, and she'd make sure that I would memorize them. But she'd always have me memorize stuff in church, too, to make sure that I had my stuff down. So my mom is not an actress. She was a journalist for a while, but the people that inspired me are later on. When I grew up in a farm town, a farm school, very small, and I was the first person like probably in the 4th or 5th grade out in the area that I lived in because it was acres of land. Now there's a lot of houses closer in, but with the first kid in my elementary school to have television, to have cable television, and to watch those shows, and I still had to play outside a lot, so I didn't get to watch TV that much. But as I got older into middle school, we moved into the city, and it's not the city like Los Angeles. It's nothing like that. It's a small town. But I liked Little House on the Prairie as a kid. Melissa Gilbert, stuff like that. She was so cute. I'm trying to think, who else? Because I know as I got older, I love Queen Latifah.
No.
I've never denied Queen Latifah. I love her. Love her personality, her spirit, her love, and her boldness. How firm and strong she is. But there's other people later in my life versus growing up and having someone to look up to. But I like Zooey Deschanel. She's an inspiration to me because she has a clothing line that's under Tommy Hilfiger, and she wears the stuff on the New Girl, and that's her designs. And I think that's just so inspirational to me because I love to sew. I've designed and custom made clothes for big red carpet events, for Beef Flick celebrities, for stage models and stuff like that. And I mean, I've had the honor of like LA Music Awards promoting my clothing line and putting me on their Step and Repeat and in their catalogs, sponsoring me. So I've had pretty good big honors and big promotional things. So Zooey Deschanel is great. She's very talented in both as a comedic and a talented designer.
No, absolutely. And the more I look at you, the more I was just thinking, you look like a combination of Stephanie McMahon from the WWE and also the woman from Hot Pursuit.
Oh, I've never heard that. I hear a lot of things all the time because I hear about Tina Fey and Sarah Palin and stuff like that, and I've had a couple other people.
Which one is first? It's a lady from
But my next question is, what were some of your favorite films that you starred in? You know, like from Mexters and everything.
That I starred in?
Yes.
I've only starred in one film. I did a lot of theater growing up. I have another film that I'm linked to, but I did the One More Round. It's a Kevin Sorbo film. Kevin Sorbo played Hercules in the 90s. I have a couple things coming up, a film in Florida and a film in Texas coming up. I'm really not supposed to say too much about that. But I had to take a huge break to take care of my kids through a divorce, and now I'm trying to make my way back in and get my feet dirty again, and just trying to make it, just like everybody else, surrounding myself by the right people. So.
No, absolutely. Now, wrapping up our talk show, do have a couple questions for you off the air. But wrapping up our segment, the two questions I was going to ask you is, one, are you on social media? Are you on Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram? How can people follow you? That's the first question.
Well, I am. I'm on Facebook, of course, Kaye Laine, Kaye, last name Laine, and on Instagram it's Kaye _ Laine, Laine, and I'm on Twitter, KLaine77, spelled the same way, and that one kind of dates my age right there. I am on Instagram. Not Instagram, but I am on that, but LinkedIn as well.
Right, and my last question for you, wrapping up our segment, is when I first approached you to be a guest on my talk show, what was your first reaction? And after being interviewed, how do you feel now?
My first reaction? Oh, I just like meeting new people. That's fine, and I guess I made another friend within you. So, and I love how people like to promote other people as well. It's always good to network.
No, absolutely. Yeah, I'm looking forward to part 2 down the road. And I just want to say thank you for your time.
Yeah, you're welcome.